thank you for joining us today on Capital TV. And today I have a very interesting personality, someone that is not new to our camera in Rivers State.
Are you calling me a character? Very interesting.
Well,
I'm very interested in character.
You want me to do my introduction? That's how it is. Well, Kingsley Wenenda Wali is a Rivers elder statesman.
Thank you, thank you. I love the sound of that, really.
A political commentator, and of course, one of the most practical believers of good governance in Nigeria. Today we are right in his kitchen. After this interview, he's actually supposed to serve me breakfast. And so that's actually a much more interesting aspect of it. I'm also expected to go home with a free wine from his winery. Welcome to the show, sir.
You're welcome, and thanks for having me. But a quick one. Breakfast, what kind of breakfast? The one that hurts, or the one that fills your tummy?
Gary and soup.
Or the one that you will go home crying like last?
No, Gary and soup.
You know, the Bonaparte type breakfast, last.
Gary and soup, that's what I want to go home with, if possible. You're in your 60s.
I'll be 62 tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow is your birthday. Happy birthday.
Just like that.
Which I will give you again? I don't give you anything now.
Maybe you're going to goat.
Well, we can look at Gary, but not goat.
Why not goat?
Are you not worried about what's happening in the country? Having been in this country, having lived here for 62 years.
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel about this country? Growing up as a young person, then 4 years and the joy and the kind of interest that you saw growing up. How do you feel about this country today?
I'm going to paint two scenarios, tell you two stories, quick stories. One was one I had with my nieces some years back, and one I had with some young man yesterday. So I was telling him that, while I was in secondary school, they used to pay us transport allowance. Do you understand?
In Nigeria?
Yes.
By the government?
Yes. We will normally pay transport allowance. So you found out most people in my school then, either were all living in Akasa, or because they normally pay you some money per kilometer. So if your community where you're going to holiday is far off, it wasn't a flat rate. So those of us who are from River State were all claiming Akasa. Oh. While most of the northerners were claiming Subiru, all the border towns. So I was telling him that. Instead of laughing, he was like, Jeff, how? And he didn't believe it happened in Nigeria.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, and I remember telling my nieces, I was just telling them my food timetable. When I got to Sunday afternoon of jollof rice with chicken, it just went, Uncle K. More like, this your lie is too much. It happened.
In Nigeria?
It happened in Nigeria. And I remember too well narrating to the young man yesterday, so it wasn't yesterday, I think on Saturday. I said to him that on Friday afternoon after lunch, you pack all your laundries and put them in a bag for the laundry to come and pick, and then return them on Sunday or thereabout. That is all of the things you wear for the next week. The school, the government took care. And was that a great thing? Because there's a conflict to say maybe government featured funds with trivialities or not allowing us to wash our clothes and all of that. But again, were we in a position for government to fund that for everybody, make life meaningful for children? Why not?
Sure.
After all, there are countries where people...
It's obtainable.
I'm talking about where people went to school free.
Yeah, free.
It didn't affect how rich or poor or broke the country later became. So I think it has more to do with not being able to plan and not being able to situate things properly. The ratio of money that was spent on us then, when compared to the one that was stolen, it's disproportionate.
Absolutely.
So it wasn't because they were giving us good food in secondary schools. Even those who were in the university then would tell you how much they paid for
school fees.
Not just school fees. Most of them was free. I mean, you had meal tickets that you bought at the beginning of the semester or the beginning of the term, and then every afternoon there was 50 kobo, and all of that.
At what point did we get it wrong?
Okay, It's a combination of factors. I think the military didn't help. The military didn't help.
But they built infrastructures.
They built infrastructure, but
Third
they didn't
mainland
help.
bridge
The
was built by the
mentality.
military.
The mentality was not productive.
Okay.
The mentality was more of spend.
Not sustainable.
Not sustain. It was not something that you said, okay, we're going to do this. I'm a strong believer in benevolent dictatorship. I strongly believe in benevolent dictatorship because
Is there any of the military dictators that you fancy till now? You feel this person could have done much better?
it's important that we recollect a couple of that happened under Sani Abacha.
We had a strong economy.
The
Yeah,
economy
of course,
stable.
a strong currency. Yeah.
If my memory is not failing me, Abacha did not sell crude oil for more than $13 a barrel for 4 years he was president.
But he had its very brutal side that included taking of lives and all that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a bit complicated. When you balance that with the other side of it, was a different thing altogether. Like a friend of mine would joke about it, is that others practice corruption of everybody let us eat. Abacha was like, no, hey, you guys watch me eat. And then I'll give you from time to time and all of that.
So back to...
But in terms of governance,
Yeah.
I think that we had a better deal on that.
So I cut you short from what you were saying about where we got it wrong.
Yeah.
And you were already making your point there before I interjected.
I said the military, because the military left us with a mindset of entitlement. And we didn't have long-term plans. Nobody was visionary enough to say in another 10 years, another 20 years, it was where I wanted Nigeria to be. You understand? It was more like we're just going to carry on daily
Reactionary.
basis. On daily basis.
Yeah.
Whatever happens tomorrow will take care of itself. Don't forget that we're in a country that at some point in time, the president of this country or head of state then said that the problem of Nigeria was not money.
We had
but
to
how
spend it.
It was the most ridiculous thing to say. So that's why I said I do not think any politician, any civilian, educated, trained mind will say that. Saudi Arabia cannot say the problem is money. There's no money. We have to
spend it.
We have challenges. United States of America, the strongest economy in the world, cannot say our problem is how to. Because there's always a challenge. There's always something that you need to invest in to be sure that your tomorrow is secure. So I think that's where we got it wrong. So because of that mentality that was everything was okay. Then the transition between the military and the civilian government in 1979 was when the civilians came with that, hey, let's continue from where the military stopped, the chopping. And so even when the economy was going bust, Obafemi Awolowo came in and screamed, I think early 1980, that the way we're going, if we don't do a reverse or touch on our brakes, we'll get into problems.
1980.
1980, yes. He had a war press. He went to his normal vacation every year. He comes back at the airport. He does his war press conference. And he didn't just say, this is what the issues were. That was rather that we are going to have economic challenges. He said, we're going to have challenges. This is why we're going to have challenges. And this is what we need to do to be able to get out of this.
Yes. Would he have been a better president than Shagari?
Let's look at history. Let's look at history. There's no better way of judging the two of them than, have you been in office before? Yes. What did you do while in office? Do you understand? Shagari was on a secretary. He never held an executive position before he became president. Right? Chief Obafemi Awolowo was a parliamentarian. Became the prime minister or the prime minister of the Western Nigeria.
Yeah.
And the things Awolowo did while he was in office, for the few years he was in office, are there till tomorrow morning. So it's so easy.
Reforms in the Southwest.
Awolowo built the first radio station in Africa.
First radio station,
yes. TV station in Africa.
TV station, yes.
The first stadium in Africa. Don't forget that Awolowo had a TV station before Sweden.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Question of Awolowo, Nigeria had the first TV station before Sweden. And several other. We're using Sweden now because it's a developed democracy. Development is there, so you can easily say, oh, this is a good economy and all of that. Nigeria had TV station before. Sweden. So you can imagine the litany of other countries that today are all doing well. Right? So if you looked at that and used that as a yardstick, it's not out of place to say Awolowo had the experience. And even during the campaigns, it wasn't saying, I'm going to do this. It would say, I am going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. I'll tell you a joke. My senior friend, I think he's late now. A senior friend of mine, I think he's late now. I can't remember. I've not been in touch with him for years. The difference between Awolowo and Zik is this. Zik will come to a campaign ground and maybe see a child that's malnourished. Oh, he will carry the child. Oh, my baby. That. Show a lot of empathy, genuine empathy. Awolowo will look at that baby, carry a blackboard, and say, this is the problem with this baby. This baby is lacking this nutrition. This is what we need to do to be able to feed this baby. We need to do this. We need to stop drinking water to be able to feed. Practical things that need to be done to stop it. Having children who will become
not just an individual.
It wasn't empathy. It wasn't just trying to be dramatic. Chief Obafemi didn't have time for the niceties of politicians. He came telling you what it was. You understand? So if you use that as a yardstick, it'd be so easy for you to say Awolowo would have done better than Shagari in office, because apart from the fact that he had, more experience in public service, executive functions, and the positions and all of that, he had some level of control over his supporters. Shagari was rather a product of an amalgamation of political forces. So he had to be careful how he managed those people. So anybody that was anybody in UPN there with Awolowo were all products of Chief Obafemi Awolowo.
Well, quite an interesting conversation that we are having here. But we'll take a short commercial break. And when we come back, we'll look at other issues on Nigeria, the Rivers State. Don't go anywhere. My name is Ndume.